All right, today we are going to be working on an agent installation on a Vault with the Director software. This is the OpenText Server Backup, formerly Carbonite Server Backup or Evault software. And while you can install an agent alongside the Director software to do a backup of different components, there are a couple caveats with it that you just need to be aware of, such as pool file locations, and the big one here is to not back up the .pf files, which are the pool files of all your backups. I know it sounds a little bit counterintuitive, but there's reasons for it, and we'll get into that in just a minute here. Now, some of the reasoning behind this and kind of the thought process is that there could be stuff happening on your Vault, whether it be malware or maybe the event viewer is showing some disk failures. And when this server goes down, you're going to have a backup of all that information to be able to do some forensic analysis afterwards. That way you can reload the event viewer, for example, and see, oh, that disk was having an issue 2 months ago and we just didn't catch it. Or, hey, we see that the malware started infecting files about a week ago, and now we know how far back we need to do our backup, or excuse me, we need to restore back, say, more than a week ago because of certain issues. So that's why it can be important to get a backup of your vault with some exclusions involved. We're going to take a look at the storage location first, because depending on a vault's history, you could have multiple vault folders. So on the Director software here, in the Storage Management dropdown, I'm going to click on the Storage Groups and Locations. From here, in the Primary Storage Group tab, expand out ST01, and we have the V drive for my particular instance under Vault, etc. Now, it's possible you could have secondary storage groups with different paths in here, and you'll also want to make a note of those. What we're going to be doing is traversing this path here and excluding everything except for certain files that we want from those. Now let's take a look at that path here. So I'm going to open up my V drive into this vault, and I'm just going to select a random server here. And we can see that I have a whole bunch of .pf files, or about 500 megs each. That's the default for it. I'm going to sort by name, and we can see there are a variety, and there's a variety of sizes. Now that the way that the pool system works, there could be, say, a 2 gig file, and it's going to be spread across 2, 3, 4, etc. And depending on the history of that particular job, you could have something referenced in the 2.pf file from 10 years ago, and that file still exists. And so, in short, we don't want to be messing with any of the pool system file backup itself. That's what replication is for to a different vault, and that takes care of making sure that all the references and all the pool system is there. If you're going to do a backup of your vault, what you're doing is getting all of the log files and all the configuration files. You could even get the database. And so that is what we're looking for when we're backing up the vault. There's many instances where this V drive, in my case, could be a remote SAN, or there could be a case where it's just on a RAID array that's separate from the C drive, and for some reason we lose our C drive and we want to restore our entire OS of the vault and then reconnect the storage to it, and that's perfectly fine as long as those are two separate entities and everything is referenced of the vault storage data versus the database data. Now that we've got that knocked out, I've actually already completed the agent installation for this particular server. I do have another video that goes through the entire process to install the agent. So I'm going to jump over here to Portal where I've already got it registered, and we can see my Vault Settings tab. I am ready to register it to a Vault. Now I've got it up on this screen because it is possible, if you've got 4 or 5 vaults in your environment, that you could take this backup and send its information over to a different vault pair, and that's totally fine also. In my particular lab, I have an active vault and a passive vault, and that's it. Now, when I do a backup to my active vault, basically doing a backup to itself, it's going to replicate that data to the passive vault. And so that gives me my second copy. So even though my backup is going to the same spot, and yes, it is going to use up a little bit more space on my vault, because my replication is supposedly up to date, it's okay if this goes down because I can restore from the passive vault. With that knocked out of the way here, for my little disclosure statement, I'll go ahead and click the Add Vault, And then because I have a Vault profile, I can just select that and it'll automatically fill it for me. If you need to know how to do a Vault profile, I also have a video on that process. And with that completed, I'm going to go ahead to the Jobs tab, and I'm just going to set up a standard BMR job. I'm going to jump to the middle of that creation here so that I can show you my setup for what I have included. Here I've selected my bare metal restore, and I have that expanded out in the middle pane so that you can see that the OS has decided it needs the C drive and the volume there in order to get a good bare metal restore. But it did not have the D or the V drive by default. Now in my configuration, I did have the V drive, and you're going to want to check yours as we did in the beginning of the video to make sure that you're selecting all of your locations. It is possible to have multiple locations across multiple drives, so just make note of that. For the Vault location here, I did need to be very specific with the files that I get so that I'm not just bloating the backup here with files that, even if I did a restore, are going to be useless. So the .cfg files are going to help with making sure that I can do a restore of server information for a forensic analysis, for example. And the .xlog and .log, that's pretty self-explanatory that you're going to want those to review backup log information. And you can see maybe a backup was having a problem writing a file to disk for a month before the failure. And so that's why the agent wasn't getting good backups. You're kind of getting a trail of information about why there might have been potential issues. The .mir and .names, those are more handy for if you needed to get a developer involved, and you can kind of pass those along to them to view a little bit more in depth to a particular task. And the .vvc, I probably should have put that up with the .cfg, but the VVCs are the configuration information also for tasks. And I have these in the notepad just to make it a little bit easier to see on screen. In the filters window, you just put a star dot that particular item and then a comma between each one of them. And now that that's all set up, I'm going to hit Create Job. The next window is the scheduler, and I'm going to hit the Add Schedule button at the top right, changing the top one to be monthly because we always want the longest retention to be on top. And then you just come into the schedule view days of month, and I'm going to set that to be the first. Want to make the bottom one match the top one. It's going to take the top down. Hit save on this. And if you've been following along for the video here, you'll notice that the job changed very slightly when you hit the create and save button there. So I'm going to go back in to show you what that did. You can either click directly on the text, or you can go to the select action dropdown and hit edit job. And here we can see what that change was. It basically took all of our comma delimited items and broke those down into individual line items, which makes it super easy to see what we have included for it. Now you can hover over the text for that particular line item, and you can see that this was for the V drive vault. Of course, if you have multiple drives and all of these inclusions, then you're going to have a very long list here, but at least you know you're getting all of the information that you're going to need for a forensic analysis. The last thing that I'm going to note here is that you can actually do a couple of exclusions just in case, for some reason, your Vault directory got included in your BMR. It'd be a rare thing to happen, but it would definitely give some peace of mind here that you could come in and check mark the Vault location here and hit the exclude button. Make sure you got that nice little red minus sign here. And then you're going to exclude star.pf. And we can also exclude star.pf-map. Those are your basically largest ones in there. It's not the entire list of everything, but that'll give you a good spot to get the large items just in case this were to be accidentally included in the future. It's not going to harm anything as far as the backup processing because we've already said we only want these particular files. So at this point, it's basically just a peace of mind thing. So I'm going to save this and kick off that backup job. And with that backup complete, we'll just go ahead and refresh the portal interface here. We can do that by clicking on computers or refreshing the browser. And now that I've got my good backup, everything is showing green across the board here for it. Let's go take a look at the vault itself. And I want to show you a little bit of the size information for this backup. The director console here does not automatically refresh, so I'll go ahead and hit the refresh button. And I've got my Vault A here. I'm going to expand this out, and we're going to take a look at the original size column here on the far right side, and it shows as about 26 gigs. Now, if I were to take a look at my entire server here, we can see that on that used space for the C drive, we come in at 22 gigs. And then the files that we're getting from the other system, all the log files, all the configuration information, does add up to be a little bit of a space used, but it's nowhere near the 120 gigs that my vault is currently at right now. So there you have it. That's the process for getting the Vault server as a whole backed up. So if you needed to restore it, you would be able to as a complete server. And then if you just wanted the configuration files, you would have the option to do just your Vault storage location, maybe even as an independent job on that Vault, so that you can pull anything needed for forensic analysis or related business processes. If you have any questions about this process, go ahead and leave a comment down below, and we'll catch you in another video. See ya.